Yeah. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. We're live. It's Wednesday, or almost said December. Wednesday, March 22nd. Spring is here. I don't know if you could tell or not. It's been a little chilly. I think we're supposed to get some thunderstorms tomorrow and Friday, I guess. Yeah. So been watching YouTube's, been watching the news, been watching. Of course, everybody knows about the big merger between Swift and Knight and U.S. Express, and so that's great talk. Pale Rider put that out yesterday. The man is enjoying his retirement. Still waiting on that. I saw your microphone video there, Pale Rider, but I did not see the solar power thing yet. That's the one I've been waiting on, and I'm sure your microphone video was better than mine. Anyways, good morning. I did a thing, a while back. Pale Rider made a ton of business cards, and of course, at that time, I didn't really have any kind of networking experience, and I thought, well, that's cool, that's neat, and I thought, man, so I'm gonna do that for myself. So let me show you what these are gonna look like. I made some business cards. Let's see. Well, I gotta find the thing, anyways. Let's see. I ordered them through Vistaprint, and I paid out the yin yang so they'd be here before Matt's. And power bank video coming in. Okay, Pale Rider, good deal. Let's look at this project. Not only did Vistaprint make my card already, but they had this beautiful hand model. Show them off there. There we go. That's what the front's going to look like, and then the back will have all my social media crap. It's got my 123 low board code, and then both my YouTube channels. And so, yeah. So I don't know if it's narcissism or the willingness to want to network, but I believe either way, that's what we're doing. So, anyways, I thought that was neat. It's watermelon season in Florida. There you go. Must have watched my live feed yesterday while I was like, oh, what's the produce? So, good morning. I know I started late this morning. I wanted to take a shower. I wanted to kind of, I don't know, been chilling out. I watched a really good interview with Dwayne Noel and Order of Man, Ryan Mickler. I think that was a really great interview. So it's kind of inspired me. I think people are looking for, think of social media as this, right? Social media is you go into like a carnival or let's just say a big warehouse, right? And everybody's got tables set up. And they're all yelling at you, man. They're all waving their hands. They're all trying to do these extreme things. They're all telling you these things that are supposed to draw you into their conversation. Everybody's yelling. Everybody's freaking out. Everybody's waving their arms. You got a few people that yell that they're leaving the room, and then they leave the room. Then they come back 10 minutes later because no one paid attention. No one chased after them. No one cared, right? And I think that the pendulum swinging is people want calmness. People want to see common sense, because when you're out and about, like I saw a video yesterday of a truck, a full-blown 18-wheeler, and they were on a walking path. A walking path. How do you make that mistake? Now, I've made a lot of mistakes in my trucking career, and I've gone down some roads that I probably shouldn't have gone down, but I have never, ever, proudly, I will say, gone down a walking path. And, you got you got things like that capture your attention and just kind of make you think the world's lost. It's mine. No one knows how to train. No one knows how to work. No one knows how to do this. No one knows how to do that. And so you have a calm person that you come across. You're like, hey, oh, this guy's not yelling at me. Huh. But he's still making me think. And I think that's what the world needs right now. You can yell all you want. If you're not in control of your emotions, then you're not in control. Emotions are good. A stoic approach is good. But stoic doesn't mean emotionless. It means controlling of your emotions. If something makes you feel sad, why does it make you feel sad? If doing your numbers, if the thought of doing your numbers makes you feel anxiety, you got to figure out why. If the thought of getting I've talked to 3 people today, or not today, but this week, that want to get new trucks. And I tell these people, you got to look deep down inside yourself and figure out why you want a new truck. How are you going to understand and you understand why? What's your intention? What's your goal? Where do you have anxiety? And then address that anxiety. Like for me, the anxiety was a 5-year note when I was looking at brand new trucks. That was it. And I thought, okay, so let's not do a 5-year note. Let's do a 4-year note with a lower payment. And that brought that anxiety down. And that was just me. Now someone else might look at that and look, you got to weigh all your options. And I've had some really good conversations with some really good people this week. That's the blessing of my job, which that's the blessing of being a truck driver, is that you can get on your headset and you can talk to people and stop observing trash. Stop listening to the things that are toxic. I don't care if you think it's entertainment and it's a great distraction. The more you distraction, the harder it is to focus. After a while, it goes from entertaining to, what the hell am I doing? Why am I watching this? I could have spent the last 3 hours watching or listening to a podcast about self-improvement, or a podcast about business, or a podcast about, diet. And you want to find the people that aren't yelling at you, that aren't telling you that you're a piece of crap because you don't eat right. You want to find the people that say, look, you know what? I didn't eat right. This is what it did to me. This is what I figured out. This is where my emotions went. And boom, there you go. Listen to those people. You have a bunch of people in social media yelling about how bad brokers are. They're not in control of their emotions. DAT has a tool that shows what the brokers are paying the carriers. Just like there are tools out there that show what the shippers are paying the brokers on average. But we all know about averages. They're average. So there's a lot going on right now, and you just have your eyes aware, calm, figure it out. Take time to pause and figure out, don't drown your sorrows in food or alcohol. Figure out where your anxiety is coming from. Figure out where your procrastination is coming from. And you'll start to figure things out. And this is the journey that I've been in, because I was an emotional person. I was a person that drank heavily. I was a person that used food as an escape. I've been there. I've done that. And you know what? I woke up and I didn't like myself. And so I would abuse myself even more. And then one day, I don't know what snapped. I don't know what pushed it over the edge. I don't know what made me go, you know what? This is dumb. Let's improve. Let's improve the first basic thing. And there's still a lot of work to do. Imagine the amount of effort it takes to make like an iron sculpture or a marble stones sculpture. You got to just keep chipping away and keep chipping away and figure out what works and what doesn't. So, anyways, that's my high horse for today. All right. Let's do our shout outs. And then I have a request. Someone wanted me to look at Conestoga stuff on the low board. So we're going to do that. So, all right. Old school, new school got lucky and was first. Are you lucky though? Or was it skill? Jez, I got a very late notification. I am late. I started at 12 minutes ago, 13 minutes ago. So that part is me. Thomas Wilson, good morning. Good to see you in that pretty red truck. Pale Rider TV, coffee time. CB, what's up? Cascade, good morning. The guy that copied me with his truck. Look at the similarities between the two, right? We parked next to each other at one point, and I did a photo of I'm seeing double. CDN Freight Broker, good morning. David Edwards, good morning. Power bank video coming today. How do you like that microphone there, Pale Rider? That was a good find. I was very surprised. That was one of those random videos that came up when I was researching 2 other microphones. And yeah. Don, you must be under a rock. But yeah, Swift and Knight bought out US Express, or merged. They call it merged with US Express. And if you guys don't know, it's the CEO of US Express that owns FreightWaves and Sonar. So who knows what that's going to do. And I think they have a couple issues because the SVP bank thing. So just got my notification. Good morning, everyone. About to roll from Georgia to Jacksonville, Florida. Cheap Freight Hauler, good morning. DIY, it's watermelon season in Florida. There you go. Grab some melons out of there. Vans can haul melons if you got vents, depending on the weather. And but there are some complications with ag brokers. So if you can find a mainstream broker that's got that, you're better off. But these mom and pop ag brokers that pop up for their produce season, you got to really watch them because you can't file on their bond if they don't pay you. So just keep that in mind. If I'm inaccurate, please let me know. I do not want to be on here spewing horse crap. Shana, what's up? I don't know why I can't get your name right, but how's it going? I hope you're well. Jeffrey Houlihan, good morning. Thinking about selling my truck and going back to fuel hauling. Can your truck haul fuel in and of itself? Because I know a guy that did that. He took his truck from the spot market and went to haul fuel with it. Now he's doing actually pretty good, staying within certain area radius. If not, then figure it out. I think nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with selling the truck and bowing out gracefully. There's nothing wrong with that. Schmitty Trucker, what's up? Good morning. Common sense is almost dead. Cascade, there's an agreement and a disagreement there. And where that comes from is you got to focus on where it is, right? And that's the key. In the world of screaming idiots on the internet, there are a few common sense, and you can manipulate. Here's the thing. People are like, well, does your home news feed, does it manipulate you or do you manipulate it? And the answer, it goes both ways, right? So for example, we were on Pale Rider's channel yesterday and we were talking about doggy vests. And so I get on my computer here, nothing to do with my phone. I get on my computer here and I look up a couple of doggy vests. We made a couple of jokes. We looked at how ridiculous prices are for dog stuff. And then I go to Facebook later and guess what? I have ads for doggy vests. I have ads for dog tents. I have and I'm like, we don't even shop on Chewy. if I do research on a holster, boom, all my ads are for holsters. And not just on Facebook, on Instagram. I just completed my I just did something on Vistaprint. Never once opened Vistaprint on my phone at all. It was all done on the computer last night. This morning, it was in my Instagram feed, Vistaprint. So you can manipulate. Now I had already purchased the Vistaprint, but you can manipulate your feeds. And so if you can just find the people, and I'll send you a video, Cascade. If you can find the people that have the common sense, they're out there. There's a trend, quote unquote, called trad wives, traditional wives that want to stay home and raise their kids and homeschool them. That's a trend now. That used to be the norm. So they're out there. You just got to search, right? Shan says, I don't want a new truck, but I want the warranty. I hear you. And Greg Zimmer, good morning. Steve, I can write a check for a new Kenworth today. If you are maintaining and doing preventive maintenance, there's no need for a new one. Yep. Well, I mean, that's why I'm not buying a new one. I almost bought a new Volvo 2 years ago when they were. I could have gotten it for $145. Can you believe that? $145 FET out the door, fully loaded. I thought about it. I'm like, no. Why? Because the way I run, because the way my business is set up, and because I know the things at home would keep me home, and I don't want to deal with that. So that's just my personal experience. Other people can make new trucks work. Thomas Wilson puts a lot of money into his truck, and he makes it work, right? Desiroki Pam, good morning. Pam has a new truck, and she's doing just fine. I believe. Last time I talked to her, she's over there at SRO Logistics and doing well. Stuart, good morning. I eat heavily, look like I'm 15 months pregnant. Yeah, that's insulin resistance. I'm listening to Jason Funk's video about fasting, and it's been pretty good so far. Thomas Wilson, I am emotional. I'm just in more control. I was out of control and told a friend to go somewhere, and I've lost that friend as a friend, right? So my emotions can still get you in trouble, can still get me in trouble, right? And I have regrets. Dan's Hot Shot Trucking and Outdoor Venture. Good morning, everyone. One step at a time. There you go. We never know who is providing that DAT data. I know my brokerage is not submitting our data. In some lanes, it might only be 1 to 2 reports. That is true. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. So I look at all the tools, I look at all the analytics, I look at all that. And in reality, it just reflects what I'm already experiencing. That's all it does. Because, you could have a national event happen today that completely obliterates the trends. That can literally happen at any moment. So, you prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's essentially what I try to do. And when that big, huge moment happens, then you just kind of figure it out. Use your emotions. If I freak out and have this anxiety, I'm like, okay, where's this anxiety coming from? And then I evaluate it from there. Don't make a business decision based on an emotional attachment or an emotional reaction. I quit nicotine, just trade it for food. Yeah, that's common. I drown my sorrows in nature. That is the perfect thing to do, Mr. Semi. That is the perfect thing to do. Stuart, I just lack discipline in the health department. When it comes to business, it's not an issue. I wish I had the same standards in both. So, Stuart, I too struggle with that, with something similar. So when I looked at why do I struggle with sticking to a certain way of eating, I'm not going to call it diet because that's not what it is. I look at why. And then so I dug deep into that. And that's why I read that book by Robert Lustig, The Hacking of the American Mind. And it tells you why. It tells you you're being manipulated. It tells you that the food is being created to be addictive. And because of all the chemical reactions going on in the brain, you don't want to eat right, you don't want to exercise, you can't sleep right, your cortisol levels are all jacked up. And then that should anger you. Boom, there's your emotion. Now let's manipulate that emotion. That's essentially what someone does when they sell you something, is they're manipulating your emotions. Are you afraid of someone breaking in your house? I've got this cool camera system. The camera system's not going to keep someone from breaking in their house. If they want in your house, they're going to get in their house. They might have to pay some consequences, but it's not like the cameras are no longer a deterrent. They're really not. So get angry at the fact that they've made this food addictive. Get angry at the fact that they've manipulated you into believing all this stuff that you thought was true and wasn't. A lot of lease programs are like that. I'm sure a couple of you in this chat are in some predatory lease programs that once you dive deep into it, you're like, holy hell, what the hell have I done? And that should make you angry, and use that anger to figure out what you're going to do for your next move. Shannon, I know where you can get a warranty on any used truck. Hit me up if you need it. DIY wipes tears with $100 bills. Loving the wireless mics. Good deal. No, it's not a Rode. It's a J-Lands. Roads are expensive, man. I looked into them. They're like $300+. And then the Lark Bird or whatever it's called that a friend of mine purchased, I wasn't impressed with their sound. I watched a couple of comparison videos and it just wasn't good. So I watched this video, had like 5, and the Rode was the best sounding one, but it was also the most expensive one. So in that search, I found this guy talk about J-Lands. It was like $50. He said, this is the best mic under $50. It was $49.99, right? And it came with 2 instead of just 1. And when he did the sound comparison, I was like impressed. So that's the one I got. It was sent to me. Somebody purchased it for me. Ulanzi J12. Did I say J-Lanzi? I don't know. I'm probably messed it up. But yeah, that's Pale Rider did a video and I did a video on it. So cents per mile. Good morning. Fought through your rainstorms all day yesterday, heading back to Long Beach, California. I like a challenge, I guess, right? Yeah, it's supposed to rain cats and dogs come Thursday night, Friday morning. The world is wild. Carlos, I could not agree with you more. 205 fully loaded, ordered with 510 horsepower and 13 speed manual, all options available. That's kind of high. They're running about 189 now. Unless you're getting that Kenworth what's that anniversary truck. They've got one for the W9, they got one for the 680. I'm hoping that there's a couple of those at the truck show. Which are you going to Matt's, by the way, Thomas? I just heard that term trad wives yesterday. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I'm lucky that my wife can also be a stay-at-home mom. I don't want public schools raising my daughters. Yeah, that's funny. My wife threw that term at me this morning, and we have great conversations in the morning, and she I'm like, what'd you call it? Trad wife? And she's like, no, it's traditional wives, and it's like a whole trend on TikTok now. I'm like, wow, okay. Not that she's on TikTok, but she's just, the interviews and the podcast she listens to talks about parenting and stuff like that, and that's like a whole thing. And just like we've lacked the father figure in our family structure, we've lost mother figures as well. A lot of people don't talk about that, and and there's a lot of women that just don't want to have kids, but then when they get in their 40s and 50s, they realize that I serve no purpose, and then they validate their bad decisions. Well, I was a career woman, or I was this, that. It's like, but are you happy? And that's the question that no one can seem to answer anymore. Are you happy? Are you truly happy? What makes you happy? DIY says nature makes him happy. I know Mr. Wilson likes to go out to range. He likes to go on in his motorhome. Greg likes to go on cruises. What makes you happy? Happiness has to come from inside. Had some issues with the new truck early on, but it's been doing well since they were taken care of. There you go. I predict the merger will help the freight market. Anyone else got any other predictions? I would like to know why you come to that conclusion. What makes you feel that conclusion? With both feet, good morning. My name is Nobody. Good morning. Good talking to you yesterday. No one forced them to sign the lease. Fell for the owner op dream. They used emotion. Emotion was part of that decision. I got a cool video coming up about a predatory lease purchase in Chicago area, bad enough to charge you for the fuel the last guy left in the tanks. Wow. That is insane. The merger will not really affect anything in the market, in my opinion. There is no change to the supply and demand ratio. So you have WCF and Vader that predicts that it will help, and then you have Stewart that predicts that it won't really affect. And so these two people can argue, which I know they won't because they're good people, but these two people can argue till the cows come home. But it's essentially just an analysis off a prediction that you can't make. And where we get caught up in social media is like now two people have to be right. And to me, it's not even worth thinking about. Like, does it affect the market or not? Time will tell. But I want to be able to recognize it if it does. But I'm not going to make like super different preparations just in case it doesn't, or does or doesn't, right? I want to recognize if it does, but I also want to not just change my course just in case it doesn't. So it's something you keep an eye on. And then if you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And so, in my opinion, I don't know enough about the merger to really kind of say yay or nay. And, did the Knight Swift merger, change anything? Maybe internally in those companies, but, and so where I would be worried is if I was US Express lease driver, what does that dynamic change? Will you have access? Are we going to see, Swift trucks hauling US Express trailers and vice versa? Just situations like that. So if I was in that world, if I was at one of those three companies, I would definitely be keeping an eye on the situation, but you just got to keep on keeping on. And that's how I've 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, I would have been like emotional about it for no reason, because it really, at the end of the day, it doesn't really affect me. And if it does, then I'll figure it out. I just try not to be surprised when it does. And that's essentially how I look at that. Jerome, good morning. I find hiking to provide me the solitude that trucking used to. Plus, I get to eat the same non-perishable crap I did in the truck and on the trail. Hiking is good. So I just left Americold, Wakefern, Covington Township, Pennsylvania. I've been there. Tobyhanna, PA. I got here at 12 for a 1 a.m. appointment and just got out of the door at 8 a.m. Detention time. I was told that the lease purchase is made to pay off the truck. No, I will be in Belize looking at land, so no truck show for me. Okay. Red Dead Head. Good morning, caveman. What's up? I haven't been how about like that since everything went to hell with the big term. The only good thing they have is they have parking out. Okay, you haven't been here. Yeah, that's the best thing about that. Wakefern is you got that parking, right? And they don't check your truck if you're there overnight or not. So joy comes every morning. Absolutely, Cascade. Absolutely. Snorelord, your YouTube videos make me happy. Good deal. I'm glad they don't bring anxiety. I talked to somebody yesterday that was like, Man, you were spitting some truth that was kind of hurting, but it needed to be said. And look, my intention is not to offend. If I do offend you, I apologize. And then you got to figure out why what I said offended you. And this guy wasn't offended. Don't get me wrong, but there are people that have been offended. I'm coming across the 5-year anniversary of when I busted my ankle, and I had people texting me how much of a loser I was. I had people texting me about I can't, you shouldn't have left Schneider because you're lazy and you don't want to do any work. I mean, just all this nasty stuff while I'm down and out. Just in order to do a social media platform, I don't care if it's Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, podcast, you have to have a thick skin and you have to be willing to not just get in arguments because the arguments aren't worth it. So, big germ. Morning, Steve. I almost posted my first video in 2 years because the emotional responses I am seeing on YouTube about these rates. And you should, Gary. You should. That's an emotional response in and of itself. But look, here's how I look at that. Right? If you understand, if you know, right? If you know that there is going to, I mean, here's the thing. When I noticed that the rates are coming down and fuel was going up, I was like, man, this is going to get ugly. Not because I felt that a lot of people are going to go out of business, but because they were going to have emotional reactions that will just make us all look bad. And here's the thing. If you're going to boycott a brokerage like TQL or something like that, do it. Please do it. Don't ever haul another TQL load again. That just makes less competition for the trucks that I'm trying to book for. Because I've know their system, I've mastered their system, and I'm willing to put up with the hard things of their system if I can get the rate that I need and if it's a load that I want. That's as simple as that. And we could speculate all day long about how much, brokers are taking, blah, blah, blah. Well, the guy that's selling you a $2 fountain soda is only paying a quarter a piece for those. Starbucks, don't even get me started on Starbucks profit margins on that crap that they call coffee. But yet, are you protesting? No, you just don't go to Starbucks. I do not like them as a company, and I use them as little as possible. And I don't let my caffeine addiction, get in the way of that principle. And if I do break down, like I almost bought a Starbucks coffee at Matt's last year, it was their horrible service made me just turn around and just not do it anyways. Emotional reactions can be good if they're not reckless. And sitting there despising the only platform you have to make money doesn't seem to me a sound business mind. I mean, really. I hate brokers. Then why are you in the spot market? I mean, come on. Why are you using them? And so that was the worst. That's the worst thing about this down market is everybody's reaction, everybody freaking out, everybody like getting angry, and you see it in the fuel islands, you see it at the truck stops, you see it in the drivers' faces. You see it in the lack of gratitude. You see it in the lack of maturity. You see it in the lack of consideration, considerate, being considerate. Well, I'm going to take a shower while I'm at the fuel island. Sucks to be you. And we've all just about every time I've gotten fuel in the last year, there's always that one guy that's like 2 trucks behind blocking the fuel line because he went in. Now I get it. Sometimes you have a bathroom emergency or whatever, but learn to deal with that as well. Stop eating bad food that makes you have to run to the restroom that quickly. Little things like that. Apparently, I've angered some people. I went from 70 people to 49. That's interesting. Anyways, we are still going to go over low board stuff, but I got to get caught up on these comments first. Our society is heavily against fathers. I found out that when my wife left me, I fought till the bitter end and was rewarded with being required to pay child support and to get 50-50 custody, right? I'm fine with being wrong, but I predict it'll help the market because it leaves them over leveraged. That's a good theory. Big bank takes little banks, same as it ever was, right? Rick, what's up? Good morning. Smooth Trucking, good morning. They are after control. They are after the contract freight at U.S. The family wanted to unload U.S. Express after the variant debacle. I will tell you, yes, I agree. These purchases are only designed to help you pay for a truck. That's up to you to strategize how to make that profitable for you. And that's true. How are you preparing for what's coming? I will keep that to myself. I've been trying to keep my debt down as low as possible, not making any big decisions, and um, and just keep on keeping on. Try not to let it affect me emotionally. How does a broken ankle make one a loser? Shaking my head. Yeah, DIY. It's a long story. I think I know who it was. There's a group of people that were on Periscope that do not like me, and I think they just use their wives' phone numbers to text me. So I think that's what happened. Your largest organ has to be thick skin. That is true. I find it funny that every time I left a job, it was because I was lazy. It could never be that I used my brain and saw a better opportunity, right? Gary, is the same old thing in trucking, just a different day, right? Pigtail. Good morning. My name is Adam. I have a caffeine addiction. I've been doing good on my coffee thing. I know the title is Morning Coffee Live, but I've been drinking green tea, right? Still in my coffee mug, for Lent, and now it's going to be broken when I go to Matt's. I'm gonna be drinking coffee when I go to Matt's, but so and I find that I'm sleeping better because I was drinking coffee too late in the day. I don't know how Pale Rider does it. I think Pale Rider is he could be intravenous with coffee and still be good. So I hate TQL, but if they were paying good money, I'm going to haul it. It's just business, right? And Brian, I get you. And the thing that annoys me is that you got to be careful who you trust over there, and you kind of got to know the customers so you can smell the BS if they give it to you. And that should be with any broker. And I hate the two separate. You got the rate con and then you got the dispatch sheet. Some brokers, some of the agents over there are on it with the dispatch sheets, and others are not. They got to go through these formalities. They got to call you and then ask you 15 questions. And I'm like, just send me the damn dispatch sheet. So it's amazing how quick they can be if the load has to be picked up here in an hour, right? I just booked a JB Hunt load for $272 a mile to owner. Too many owner lease ops don't know how to or don't want to put the work in. That's true. JB Hunt, you got to know their system. You got to manipulate it, right? Every broker has a system. And if you can learn how to manipulate that and recognize when they're just want a one and done cheap carrier, or if they really need some actual customer service on that, you manipulate that. You can manipulate, you know, when you negotiate. So, like for example, there was a TQL person I talked to, and I used this new comment that she apparently never heard before. And I don't even remember what it was. I think I gave her an odd number, and this is all I got. I used their own words against them. This is all I got in it. $483.82. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, my cost is, I need to be at 272 a mile, right? Not that that's my cost, but and then like, hold on, let me get my boss. And they didn't know how to deal with that, but of course he got on there and he was, he did what he had to do, and I didn't book the load. They were not budging. No matter how good of a negotiator I was, they were not budging. So Thomas, that is an emotional reaction, Mr. Wilson. Broken ankle makes you no. I think they were judging my character um, because they've made assumptions about me. Because I've never been very rare. Okay, let me go back to this. As an owner operator, I've never been the guy that had to do 3,000 to 3,500 miles a week. Now, have I hit those numbers before? Yes. As a company driver, I hit them all the time. But because I don't have a 5,000 month, truck payment and $1,000 or $2,000 a month trailer payment, and I don't have, a fancy brand new car out front, I don't have to run 3,500 miles a week. And a lot of people saw that as being lazy. No, that's me not wanting to be a slave to debt. And that it's as simple as that. And so look, I'm responsible for my actions. I'm not responsible for your reaction. You're not responsible I'm not responsible for your happiness. I'm not responsible if you can't figure things out. I'm only responsible about what I tell you and what I show you. And since I don't show everything on YouTube, like I'm open, but I'm not an open book. And I've admitted that I have other streams of income. I've admitted that my wife has a good job with good health insurance. Key. And I've admitted that if it wasn't for her, if it wasn't for the fact that I don't want to drive a brand new pickup or a brand new car, and my wife doesn't need those kind of things, that I've established my business around that. So when something horrible happens at home, like my daughter going into the ER or my dog getting ready to pass away, I can come home. Or a family member passing away, or a friend or close friend passing away. I can go to a funeral. For example, the last load I did went to Wichita. I had to rescue a load to take it to Wichita. And because my hours got jacked up because of the flat tires, I couldn't roll again until like 1 p.m. And but I needed to be home for a funeral. And so, since this was the favorite of Jeff, he paid me to go home. Now, I did look for a load. I wanted to take a load. I was looking for something out of Joplin going to Springfield or something out of Wichita going to Springfield, but it wasn't happening. It wasn't going to get me home. And to have that luxury to make those decisions, that is what most people are craving. But they can't make the decisions that get them to that point. So when rates were sky high, I didn't go out there and buy a bunch of crap. Hell, the last time I considered buying a new truck, the rates were lower than they are now. But it wasn't fear of the rates. It was 5 years I would have to dedicate to this truck. And I don't know if you guys look back at your lives. When was 5 years? What was your life like 5 years ago? What was your mindset 5 years ago? And I knew that there was too many changes, too much volatility, that I didn't want to handle that. Does that make me lazy? Well, that's the perception that you have. Not you, Jackknife, but anybody might have. And just because I'm not running a truck now doesn't mean I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to the spot market. I'm learning just like everybody else. Been doing the spot market for 6 years now, or 5 years, I'm sorry, over 5 years. And I make mistakes. And dispatching trucks has taught me a lot about myself and a lot about what drivers are willing and not willing to do. And it gets to the point that we, notice I included myself in this, we are our own worst enemies because we don't control ourselves. You don't eat right. You don't sleep right. You've got constant distractions and noises coming at you. You're constantly on defense mode because people can't back their trucks next to you without hitting you. People can't get fuel without sitting in the fuel island. You can't even go down a walking path without the danger of a truck hitting you. So you're constantly on guard, and that cortisol level screws you up, and it's easy to have emotional reactions. I've beaten my steering wheel plenty of times. I've made mistakes. I've gone down roads that I shouldn't have gone down. How did I handle it? Well, I didn't hit anything. I didn't get a ticket. I didn't put my truck under a bridge and get it stuck because I kept calm, took a deep breath, beat the steering wheel up a little bit, and then I moved on. It's the same thing with calling brokers. There are days when I'm frustrated. Adam, I call him. It's funny. DIY and I have this friendship that's like sometimes he calls me and I talk him off the ledge, and then I call him and he talks me off the ledge. And that's the kind of friends that you need. Because sometimes you can't handle all of it yourself. You just can't. And so once you can, drop your ego and realize that, you know what, maybe I do need some help. If I need help, I call people. I don't sit there and scream about it on the internet. SST, what's up? He's laughing. Yeah, Thomas, too many jump in ill prepared for what it actually takes. It's called calling the herd. Makes no reason to talk shit about the company, though. That pays you, right? It makes there's no reason why you should be, man, I hate TQL. I made only $5,000 from them this year. Um, okay, so now what? And that's the question you should ask yourself. The brokers are taking 50%. Okay, you're right. Now what? What are you going to do about it? If someone called me up today and says, Steve, you're lazy, you should just sell that truck and just give up. Like, I'll be like, okay. Now what? You've said what you needed to say. Now your ego feels better. Now what? Well, why don't you do it? Because I don't want to. If you just argue with people like that, you shut them down pretty quickly. And this whole broker thing, brokers are laughing at you. They're laughing at your reaction. Because I know quite a few brokers that had the same reaction 2 years ago when we were asking for all this money. And we're able to get it. So the constant struggle back and forth does not interest me anymore. It really doesn't. It is what it is. I have trucks in the spot market. I need to deal with it. It doesn't matter if the broker's taking 10% or 80% or 100%. There's nothing that I can do about it unless I make a few changes. And that's where the reality sets in. What can I do to get away from this platform if I need to get away from this platform? It's as simple as that. You hate brokers? Don't use them. Thomas Wilson hates brokers. So guess what? He didn't come to like trucking. He easily could have. He didn't get his own authority. He easily could have. But you know what? He's like, screw that. Here's a company that's going to keep me busy and keep me running the way I want to run. Easy as that. Simple as that. We need to start voting with our feet instead of standing in line whining about the place we are about to hand our money to. Get up and go elsewhere. There you go. Oh, I'm not Catholic. Snorelord, I didn't know you was a Democrat. No, see, you guys. No. At this point, I think the right term is an American constitutionalist because my opinion of all the political affiliates have gone to hell. That's true. We know complaints are just frustrations. Why? Because no owner operator is open to freight brokerage has secured high paying loads during a down market. If getting high rates are easy, go do it, right? I tell you what I'm going to try to do when I go to Matt's. I would imagine that there's going to be some kind of brokerage firms there. I would love to actually interview one of them professionally. They're all going to be there. CH is going to be there. Convoy is going to be there. Alan Lund's going to be there. Um, I mean, quite a few are going to be there. And I went and talked to Alan. I tried to talk to Convoy, but nobody was interested in talking, which is strange because the years before they were interested in talking to the driver. They wanted your input. Now they're like, yeah, go away, man. Here's a free hat. Screw yourself. Right? And and look, they're going to make changes without your input or not. But at least let your voice be heard. Right? I'm still going to bring I know it's still going to bring hate through YouTube channel, but screw it, guys. Can't live in reality sometimes. Sounds like you're running your life rather than your life running you. There you go, Mr. Bill. How do Irish Catholics eat corned beef for St. Patrick's Day when it's Lent, anyways? Look, I use the term Lent, but it's really just a fast. It's a fasting from something that's potentially damaging to me. You know, my wife's going without sugar. You know, and I do 30-day fast from things all the time. Right? Just like truck stops, food prices are overinflated. Why hasn't any carrier broker opened a truck stop with cheap food? Why? Because it's not possible to run a profitable truck stop with cheap food, wear and tear. I'm going to use Willie Nelson as a perfect example of that. He tried, he embraced this biofuel right there in the beginning, created his own truck stop, was all about we need to keep the money in America, money in America, money in America. And then the reality set in that he had to fill the store with nothing but junk food and Chinese. There goes my green dollar sign. Cheap made crap. I was actually pretty underwhelmed when I first went to that truck stop. You know, of course, Petro bought it out, improved a few things, but you know, he realized that wow, this is not a profitable venture for me. And he couldn't keep it all American made and keep the prices low. Catholics are hypocrites, says Pigtail. I was legitimately curious about the corned beef thing last week. I'm not even Catholic, right? Damn, Steve, I ain't never went down to the wrong road. I just went a new direction, right? Man, I must be behind on the comments. I am. It's well, not too bad. Uh, yeah, we're not going to get political. Same brokers are bad with communication. Deal with direct shippers and same issues. You bid on a load or loads, and often the direct customer won't even tell you that they found a cheaper rate. Just crickets, right? Truck pilot Nate, I've been a driver trainer for the LTL company I'm with for some years now. I'm always amazed at the new guys who get pressured. They think it's best to just floor it. When in doubt, throttle out is never the answer, but it seems all too common. And I think it's why we see these crazy things with trucks. That is true. LTL company I work for micromanage and push that exact feeling. I can see why people feel that way. Big Tex, how's it going, man? How you doing? Just here for the coffee, Texomatic. Everybody go check out Texomatic. He did a great video with moi years ago. He's got some great content. And he's one of the original YouTubers out here. So go check him out. Get his channel blown up. Why do so many people want to assign or accept labels these days? CB, that's the biggest problem. One of the biggest problems. Shannon says, I appreciate my brokers like crazy. And that's why you're doing actually pretty good, right? Right? You don't see Shannon flailing her arms, freaking out on brokers, do you? Do you take com checks for late fee? Yeah, Cash App's fine, Fate Trucking. $10 a minute. And we've been on this for 57 minutes, so that's going to add up. Truck Nate, I'm retired from Yellow Freight, 30 years going 58 and 62. Yeah, hell yeah, I own this truck and I run the piss out of it, slow ass freight haulers. I challenge you, Jackknife, I challenge you to find one bill or one policy that the Libertarian Party has been pushing that would result in better life for the citizens. There you go. We're going to get political. All right, so let's go to low board stuff. Watch these numbers drop off. Let's see. Let's go to 1, 2, 3 here. We're going to look at Conestogas. Or essentially just flatbed. Now let's look at a load availability. Let's get this up on the screen here. You guys can argue your politics there while I do this. All right. Let's put this on. Sounds like a phone's vibrating. I don't know where it's coming from. All right. Let's see. Yeah, they don't have a contest. Oh, there it is. Do they? No, so we're just going to have to go to flatbed and step deck. All right, apply. There's your hot market map for flatbed and step deck. As you can see, Southeast, as I always point out, is pretty good. Then Oregon up here is raising their hands. Now, some produce can actually go on flatbeds. And that would be onions. I don't know when onion season is, so I wouldn't know anything about that. All right, so let's look. Did this wrong. Let's look at Missouri here. I think. There we go. My internet might be slow. Noel, Missouri, and Mandel, Oklahoma, DNL Transport. I've worked with them. They're pretty good. Kansas City to Fulton, Mississippi, 1,400, 220, 215, or 270 a mile. Sorry. All right. Big Speed, Omaha, Nebraska. A lot of short stuff coming out of Missouri. You see something like this, $1.04 a mile, Kansas City, North Las Vegas. That's going to be a partial hot shot. There you go. 2 tires, total stack, DIMS, 7. Yeah, so dimensions. That's what DIM stands for. St. Louis to Clinton, North Carolina. Miscellaneous. So who knows what that is, what that means. 46,000 pounds. They're above the average at 231 a mile. Sullivan, Missouri to Springfield, Illinois. I bet you this is going to be bricks. Building materials. Yeah, there's some building materials there out of Sullivan. It might be Menards, to be honest with you. So let's look at Georgia. See where the big money is. Per mile, you've got Bensenville, Georgia to Winter Haven, Florida, 285 a mile. 319 a mile to go from Hazelhurst, Georgia to Winter Haven, Florida. A lot of short stuff. And what I found with flatbed is it's mostly open window, no weekends. So if you want to work the weekend, you got to run a longer run or go home under the load. A lot of Georgia to Florida. Here we go. Hazelhurst to Chicago. It's only at $1.73 a mile. Average is $1.60. So, okay, so this is the second load I've clicked on where they've been above the average. Why is that? Well, because supply and demand. So, according to some sources, flatbed freight volumes have gone up 17%. And you can see it in the rates. Here we go. Appling, Georgia to Middlefield, Ohio. They're right next to the average. 48,000 flatbed step deck. And so let's look at what's coming out of Ohio. There's 265 loads going from Middlefield, Ohio to anywhere. So you look at that. Look at the highest rate here. You can make $6,000 to go from Glenshaw, PA to Phoenix, Arizona. 283 miles. Let's click on that. Let's make sure it's not oversized or something. Flatbed, 26,000 pounds. 8-foot tarps. As for Pat, no step decks or Conestogas. Riggers at shipper and receiver. So you couldn't do this load as a Conestoga. If you want a shorter load, there's North Lawrence, Ohio up to Bridgeton, Maine. What are you going to get out of Maine? No, picks up Thursday, delivers Friday. 814 miles. So you're probably going to lose your weekend on this one. Depending on how they've got a set appointments. That's interesting. And it's pipe. So there's another one. Here's Millersburg, Ohio to Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Flatbed tarps, 48,000 pounds. 6 to 8 foot tarps required. Tarped. They really want you to tarp this. And average is about 246 a mile. So about $1,600. Probably can get them up to 18. Let's see. Here's the newest load. Just posted 32 seconds ago. See how it automatically updates? You have King of Freight, Somerville, Pennsylvania to Frederick, Maryland. $639 a mile. Paying $1,450 for 227 miles. It's brick. Usually brick doesn't pay well, in my experience. So, but my experience is limited, so I could be completely off base. I know that bricks for a dry van, they're like, yeah, we'll give you $1. So, not a bad spot to be in, Middlefield, Ohio. Lots of loads there. So, it's like for the most part, let's do this here. So let's look out of Phoenix. So we'll go to load search, find loads, new search, Phoenix as on anywhere, and we'll do it for today, tomorrow, and the next day. Flatbed step deck search. All right, we got Avondale to Georgia, $1.27 a mile, $1.80, $1.75, $2.99. That's basically Arizona intrastate. You would want to check with AAA compliance. Not a whole lot of freight, so if you go into Phoenix, you better get it going. Paying well, because it's a little easier to stomach a load that's only paying $1.20 a mile in a van, but the tarp it, tie it down, and all that. That's that. But look how much below the average they are. 39.58 is the average. So 209 a mile is a little bit more manageable coming out of Phoenix. So one has to wonder why they're so low. What's the supply and demand out there? Well, as you can see, there's not too many loads coming out of 150-mile radius of Phoenix. That's part of it. Those tracking apps tell them the story. So let's do a new search. Let's do Let's do my hometown. Let's see what's coming out of Springfield. I don't know the flatbed market in my area. I know there's going to probably be a lot more loads. Boom, there you go. Ellington, Missouri to Pixley, California, paying $7,800. Let's take a look at that one. Make sure it's not oversized. It's got stops, so it might be a multi-stop load. 44,000 pounds. The average is 52. So there's definitely something going on with this load. Oh, but they're keeping 40%. Oh my gosh. Via Oklahoma to Bozeman, Montana. 3,300. The average is 38, 261 a mile. So this is a great look. Look at all these loads here. Still going. Still going. So this is a good spot. Where's a lot of them going? A lot of them are going to Minnesota, California, Utah, Texas. Here's one going up to Michigan. Independence to Temperance, Michigan. Picks up Friday. They're only at $182. Who's the broker? Sakota. I've never heard of them. Insulation, 6-foot tarp required. Quick pay available. They got a score of F in 60 days with underfunding. They're 45 on trans credit, so yeah, avoid that one. In my opinion, that's the important part. Bixby to Omaha, looking at 260 a mile, which is above average. Wood products, but no tarp, so might be pallets. So Springfield's a good spot for flatbed. So let's do Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Let's do that. Let's do Harrisburg. Pennsylvania. Search. Quite a few loads. York, PA to Torrance, California, 6237, 235 a mile. So obviously they're paying well to go into California. So you'd want to look at the California market to see why they're paying so well to go in there. Aerospace parts, exclusive flatbed, no step, must tarp and secure freight, deliver ASAP. Okay, so there's a sense of urgency on this. Must have dunnage. It is the driver's duty to safely secure the freight onto their truck. And that's been an issue lately. I'm a part of a couple of flatbed groups on Facebook, and I'm seeing some like scary stuff. You got loads to Salt Lake for 5,300 and change. Now notice, look at this: Winchester, VA, Virginia to Salt Lake City, Utah. It's been posted 3 times. Each 25,000 pounds. It went from 5,270 to 5,360 on just this one load. So you know it's posted multiple times. So let's take a look at one of these. They're right at the average with the higher rate, not the lower rate. Tarps, no Conestoga. Conestoga can give you some limitations, but already see these loads. Now, when you see a lot of these load no longer available pop up, a lot of them, that means things are going quickly. Linden, New Jersey to Houston, Texas. Take a look at that one. They're at $2,700, $1.67 a mile. Axle Logistics. I've worked with them. Even the average is $1.79, which a lot of people don't realize. Northeast can be a dead spot. It could be a dead end. It could be like a get it going in, not getting out kind of a market. Just like Denver, just like Miami, just like Phoenix. Except a lot more people live up there, so they got to deal with their first load coming out. Here we go, Baltimore to Springfield. That's my load right there. 12 picks up at noon tomorrow. Doesn't say when it delivers. 48,000 pounds, 24-hour advance pickup, appointment required. So they may not even have this load in the bag yet. That happens a lot in the flatbed world. You got they want to secure the truck before they secure the load. So what would happen is you might call this load. They're like, "Yep, let me see it's available. What can you do on it?" "Okay, yeah, we can do that. Just give me 5 minutes." And then they do whatever they need to do, and then they come out, "Okay, we got it. Here's the rate card." Some flatbed shippers are set up like that. So all right, let's go back to the comments. Marty says, "How's the green machine running?" It's running fine. All right, back more political stuff, guys. I'm not even reading the political stuff. All right, we don't go there at all. Shannon, thank you. I'm going to interview the people from DAT Low Board and ask them why they can't require brokers to put out all the information on the listing instead of making us call and hold and getting rushed. This Truck and Life, that's a great. You know what? I ought to bring CDN on the next live feed and have him answer that question for you. But yeah, ask him, because look, they don't have all the information here. And some, it comes to their TMS systems. It comes if they want to, and look, that's why a lot of these brokers want you to go to their apps because the apps will list it. That was one of the best things about Uber back in the day was that it had all the information. You could see where the facility was at. Hell, they even had the pickup numbers on there or the BOL numbers on there. But but the rates suck now, so it's not much of a luxury. But yeah, it would save time. But you know, that will tell you why that doesn't happen, and that will be a great question for them. I look forward to the answer. Authority, at least every other phone call I made was for Lodi didn't want because they didn't put the information on there. Trucking together, ran flatbed for a short time, ran onions was not a popular load. Yeah, because they shift, right? You can't really put the strap on them hard and then they shift because you're stacking round things on top of each other. So how fun is that? I drown my stress by trucking. Good morning, MC. Short runs for me are 80 to 150 miles. Houston. If Snorelord tarps a flatbed load when he's done, he calls it tarpalicious. Checking in from Ohio to Waco, rates starting to really move up again. Yes, that's good. That's good news. That's the orange world, though, people. So let that be known. If a carrier has an F credit rating with Thunder Funding, head to the hills, right? T-Bone, what's up? Flatbed Trucker, hello, everyone. Look at Blytheville, Arkansas, and flatbed. I'm assuming flatbed. Ellington, Missouri is still up there. So evidently it's within 150 miles of Springfield and also Blytheville. I don't know why Cairo, so this needs to be changed. I don't know what's going on there. That's weird. Cairo, Illinois. Well, I guess Cairo, Illinois would work. Okay. I had to remember where Cairo was. So let's do highest rate, 78. So 49 to go from Amoral to Idaho. Let's see. Let's see if any's going to a good area. Let's do Eagle Pass. Luca, Mississippi to Eagle Pass. You're looking at 303 a mile, 323. So anywhere between there. Legal load, no tarps. Ask for Brian. Sureway Transportation picks up today at noon. You probably talk them up to about 34 on that one. Scott City, Missouri to Hastings, Nebraska. Same thing. There's a lot of last minute postings today. Railroad ties. 1 day run, 657 miles. Again, open windows. So if it allows you enough time to deliver and pick up the next day, then that could be a good run. They're at 2,300, which is 1,000 more than what the average is. So we got to figure out why. Don't call it. Why are you so high? No, don't do that. just call and say, okay, what's the details? What's okay? And if they're at 3,300, then by golly, do it. I've literally gotten $1,000 above the 30-day or 15-day going into Denver. I've literally done that. The integration with TMS, the DAT, and truck stop is low. Description does not show. Only if you manually enter. So I knew he'd be here to answer the questions. Can you load Chad? Can you load steel out of Nucor, Indiana, and out of Nucor in Blytheville, Arkansas? Today, tomorrow, replace 30 minutes of social media with activity: walking, climb a hill, play on playground equipment, climb stairs, any body weight movement. All of these are free. You can do the 100-day push-up challenge. Just do 5 at a time all throughout the day. I've been doing that. There's a Cairo above Detroit. Yep. There's also Cairo, Illinois. I imagine at one point it was a booming town, but whatever big manufacturer was there moved out, and it's a slum, like the kind that you got to lock your door when you're going through. Out in the middle of nowhere. CDN on it as usual, right? So there's your flatbed stuff. I mean that's that was by request. Here's Millington, Tennessee to Aurora, Colorado. They're way below the average. Going in Aurora, that's not good, man. That's not you need to ask for more, because what are you going to come out? So let's take a look at that. What are we going to get out of there? They're at 241. There's only 6 loads or 7 loads coming out of Aurora going anywhere. So let's click on those. They're at 214, 204, 240 a mile going to West Coast, or staying in Colorado, which I believe. I don't know if you need Colorado interstate or not. I don't have my sheet in front of me. AAA compliance will tell you as well if you need interstate. Moorhead, Minnesota, that would be the load I would probably pick. Because if you look at, no, it's not going to show it because we're 2 layers in. No tarp, strap and go, load of shingles. Shingles are fairly easy and straightforward. But there's not much there, so you definitely have to ask for the money going into that load. So if there's going to be a load on the board that's $1,000 over the 30-day, it should be this one. But there's that word I love so much, should, right? So anyways, I'm going to get off here. I've been on here almost an hour and a half. If any more comments, questions, or concerns, we'll address them now. If not, we'll leave. We'll get off this YouTube thing. And I hope everyone's well. The next live feed will be Friday unless something happens. Be sure to check out Pale Rider's channel. He's making some moves. Check out CDN's channel on here. Check out the other channels here. T-Bone's got a channel. I mean, if you got a channel, put your hand up. I don't pass out wrenches like candy like the other people do, but put your hand up and you can click on them and or at least Google their name and find their YouTube channel. It might take a little bit of work. This Truck and Life's got one. Let's see. Fate Trucking's got one. Shannon's got one. No, I just don't get into political arguments. Don't interest me at all. Politics is theater of government. And we'll just leave it at that. DIY's got a channel. I didn't know you were still in here. Music City Transport. There you go. I ran out to Denver a lot, not flatbed, see a lot going in, then I see them deadheading out the next day. That's about, Chad, that's about how it works. If you got, look, the only regret with the trailer I bought is not a plate trailer because you miss opportunities with cans, empty cans. They won't load a non plate trailer with those. And you don't want to take that gamble that when the broker goes, oh, they'll load, it doesn't say anything about a plate trailer on here. And it's in the broker's best interest to figure that out. I told them that one time. It's like, do I need a plate trailer? I don't think so. Well, you need to find out before I deadhead 100 miles to go pick up that load and then cause you to have to repower this load or cause you to have to rebook this load at last minute where you're going to get reamed on the money. So how about you find out? And that's, keep them on their toes. You can be nice to brokers and keep them on their toes. Make them do their job. But you got to respect the other way around too. You ask them, "Hey, I'm interested in your load picking up and blah 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 blah," and then they tell you, and if they don't give you all the details, if they go 2,000 is the rate, 42,000 pounds. What's the product? Who's the customer? Let me look here. Hold on. Yeah, I believe it's yeah, it's Target. No, man, just be professional to them, and if they can't be professional to you, click and go. Click that red button and find something else. With both feet, I have a channel if you like last year's videos. I know, that's why I wasn't reading it. What up, Orion? I got to get a run down to Oklahoma and hang out with you. Hit the range. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow. And aggression turns to screws, but don't do it recklessly. Peace.